lie, man. I was up at 5 a.m. this morning for who knows what reason, and I
Oh
just
man,
haven't. I feel like I'm behind the ball, but you know what? As they say, the show must go on.
show must go on. I wore the mask today as a reminder, everyone out there, that coronavirus is still a thing. Just everyone to be
Mm-hmm.
safe and be careful. So wear your masks if you got them.
And
I
and
feel you though.
I wear my headband as a reminder that it's hot as outside, and
Yeah,
you need to stay cool and absorb that.
got you. And you wore the sunglasses as remind people about the importance of UV protection, right?
You do, you know it, you know
Okay.
it.
All right, perfect. But I feel you, man. Like I'm feeling a little out of it too. Literally, like 30 seconds before we went on air, one of my paintings that I had hung up on the wall fell off and smashed, and there's glass like everywhere now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna like leave it there until after we're done the show. I'll clean it up later. Hopefully, I
I
remember.
wonder what that means. I wonder what's the painting of.
Well, it's a Batman. It's a Batman drawing that I had sketched out. So
Okay,
it's a little ominous, but that's
we'll
okay.
get through.
So
We'll
much
get
going
through.
on, right?
The
Yeah,
show must go on, like we said. So
that's the
let
theme. That's the theme.
yes, that is.
So this week we got a lot of things that we want to talk about. We don't have a guest, but we have a lot of content that we want to go through. We're going to be going through This Week in Hip Hop because there's tons of news that happened in hip hop this week. We're going to be talking about unlikely collaborations. Earlier in the week, our teammate Jody was on the Instagram. She threw out the question for everyone for unlikely collaborations. We did get some feedback, which I'll throw to V in a second. We're, of course, going to feature an indie artist that it's a beautiful girl that's got an awesome voice. So looking forward to that. And we have a couple of surprise announcements. I don't know if we can tease anything at this point about that, V. Can we tease anything about that?
I think we should. You want me to do it, or you want to do
Yeah,
it?
no, go ahead, man. I know you're excited about this. So
Yeah, this is actually Jody's like love child, or I guess her baby. So she wanted us to make sure we told everyone that have a tip jar now. I think that's like a big thing in the streaming Twitch world, which is weird. I don't know if people get tips for video gaming, but hey, I guess if you're providing value and content, why not show a little love? And I think, which does tease the other announcement that it will be a contest, and through the tip jar, it'll help us with operating costs through the week and things that we're going to be doing to help give back and give you guys some value. You know.
are you saying that like if people help support us, then we can do more things for them, like contests and different sort of giveaways? Is that what you're saying?
I think that's what I'm saying, brother.
All right, so that's exciting. We're gonna have a
I
little bit more details about that. The really sort of the giveaway and the contest that we have, which is sort of exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
me as
Um,
well.
yeah, but well, let's start off with the news as we have below This Week in Hip Hop. I know that not everyone out there is a hip hop head, and we'd like to keep it diverse ourselves. V and I are predominantly hip hop heads, got to be honest, but we are opening our palette. Actually, we have opened our palette quite a bit. We have quite an extensive background of musical influences we enjoy, but
Mhm.
hopefully with the interaction and being introduced to new artists on the indie features, then we're sort of expanding our musical palette. Um,
Yes.
but this week was a big versus this week. It was DMX versus Snoop Dogg's. A couple of dogs going at it, eh? A couple of dogs.
Some dog on dog violence, I guess, but it
Yeah.
was
So
it was far from that, man. It was very peaceful. I think I don't know if that's I think Snoop is just like a loving, like once he was a Rasta guy,
yeah,
Rasta man, and he went through his Snoop Lion phase, and we all know he's really heavy into the herb. So I think he's just by nature a loving guy, and wants peace. Even though he
yeah.
shouts out like gangs, like during the
He's a gang fan.
Crips and Bloods during
Yeah,
during
yeah.
the versus broadcast. But yeah, I just wanted to say, like, before we got to your thoughts, I thought the verses have been stepping up their production value.
Okay.
We talked about this time, and maybe this is something we could try one time, but this time Snoop and DMX were both in the same studio, in Snoop's studio.
Mhm.
And I think that was pretty cool because you could see like they had some like the tracks on the screens. They had like refreshments. They had like people. I think they had a DJ there spinning both their cuts, and they were both had their microphones, and you could just tell that there was some pre-production going on, right? Like mic checks, and they were just on their game way better than any other verses I've seen.
Well, I guess it's just like us. Like, the first few verses were pretty sloppy, right? Like they cut out just like our show when we were pretty sloppy, we were cutting in and out. But slowly, you're right. They have been progressing to be better. So I didn't catch this one, but I've seen a bunch of the other ones. I saw on YouTube, on Instagram, they were retweeting some of the clips and stuff like that. So it did seem like it was a high energy. In your opinion, V, these versus battles, is there a clear winner to you? Is that why you watch these things looking for a winner, or do you just enjoy the music?
Yeah, like I think maybe for some of them, like it started like that, right? Especially with the RZA and the and I don't know if it depends on the type of, and sorry, the DJ Premier is what I meant to finish my sentence, but good. But the especially with I think it depends on the type of artists, right? If like they're hard, and I just think it depends on what stage they are in their careers. I know there's been some chatter about 50 Cent and T.I. going at it, right? And they were both, and you know what kind of person 50 Cent is, right? He's always like trolling everybody, and so I think there would be, depending on the level of competition, it would depict what kind of outcome you would get, and if there would be a winner or not. And
how
with
expensive their library is too, and all that sort of stuff. In a way, it kind of ties in with the theme of the week, the unlikely collaborations. Like a versus is just another form of a collaborative effort between a couple of artists, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Like, and I guess it's just a new way for them to come together. And I guess as we were talking about it, it'd be cool to see. I don't know if Versus is up for expanding. I know they're in the hip hop genre, but it'd be cool to see some other genres going at it. One of the things we were talking about, because this specific week had us going back in time a bit, but. What about some 90s grunge, right? Like some Soundgarden versus some Pearl Jam. I know some of our listeners would love that, right? Like Mario and some of our old school heads into that kind of genre would be cool.
Yeah, you don't really hear too much about rock versus. I guess that's just a predominantly hip hop thing, but yeah, why not? Some awesome music's come out of collaborations, which we're going to get to in a little bit. Is there any other matchups that you would want to see that comes to your mind?
Yeah, I think I'd like to see, I don't know why, but like a Kanye versus maybe a Radiohead, like if we're talking about cross genre things, because they're both geniuses in their own rights, right? And you've been to a Radiohead concert, I've been to a Kanye concert, of course, and just I think that would be, pit their really abstract experimental tracks against each other that'd be pretty cool.
What do you think about like a boy band challenge, like an NSYNC versus Backstreet Boys type of thing?
Oh,
or like
imagine
a 112 versus Drew Hill or something.
Yeah, like talking shit, like that would be cool. Like that would be awesome. And if they had the performance aspect, I think that would be cool.
Like if they danced it out too, like they have to like come up. That would be kind of all right. I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
Like some of them are balding and like got bellies, and just like they have to like keep up the moves. That'd be jokes.
Just dripping in sweat by the end of it because they're not used to it, missing all their cues and stuff. That'd be amazing. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, we got some shout outs there. We got what's For Real? I don't know what that is, but
that was For Real was like the boy band thing that I was a part of when I was in high school. Me and the Dave and James and Zamet, I know those are just random names to people, but three of my buddies just, started singing like idiots. And that's what that was.
Interesting. Yeah. So there you go. It comes full circle with the boy bands, and a little insight into Dante's past.
We all on their song level, right? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
For real. But I know, so that was the verses. I know we've been keeping a pulse on Kanye ever since we featured one of his tracks And I know you more so than me because you know you're more plugged into the politics. And now that we found out that Kanye's going to get or was going to run for office, we don't know where that lies. Can you give us some insight as to where he is and all that, and like what's going on with him?
I don't know, man. That guy's gone off his rights. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I don't think that he can qualify to run for president. I mean, there might be a little window that he could still get his paperwork in or whatever to qualify in time. But at this point, it doesn't seem likely. It seems like he's just being very divisive. Some people are thinking that he's in Trump's pocket, trying to split the votes there. Other people think that he's just lashing out because he's got the mental health issues. But like at some point, we as an audience have to stop paying attention to this, you know, and let him get his help and kind of not be so encouraging it. You know, we shouldn't be encouraging this sort of stuff. So if he says he's going to have like a rally or something like that, like don't go. You know, why are you going to support that? It's not a good situation right now.
Yeah, and I think you were telling me earlier, like some of the highlights from the rally. Can you share a few of like what was that all about?
This is I don't think it's appropriate, but basically he just kind of was, you know, talking a lot about his child and his situation with his wife. We don't want to get into any personal, you know, things that's going on there. Basically, he was just lashing out in a dangerous way, socially, especially with some of his comments there. So I do have a question about this. If someone has this type of behavior, I mean, we're not really in a place to judge, but it is a questionable, to say the least. Does this take away from his caliber of music as an artist? Or, you know, like say someone was like drinking and driving and got into an accident, like do things like that detract from their artistic value to you as a fan?
It's a good question, man. I think it depends on how far he goes. You know, he's gone pretty far, but I feel like if he's just on the cusp of going just too far, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like it just kind of dilutes his messaging and his music, because also he hasn't been consistent with that, and that was kind of leads us into the hot tracks area. But it was an amazing week for music. He could have made it even better, right? With his supposed drop that he hasn't done, right? It was supposed to be out on Friday, but I guess that got pushed back, and who knows? Like, you know, there's a level of accountability that's just not really happening there, right?
That's right. He's just delaying and delaying. I didn't think that it was going to come out when he said it was, because I feel like this isn't the first time he's delayed a release, is it?
No, I think not. Yeah, like I know Jesus is King was delayed a bit too.
Yeah, but it seems that these outlandish things that he goes on sort of happens when he's going to drop an album, you know, like it feels like he has these sort of things. So I don't know how much of it is a publicity stunt, but that just kind of goes back to, I don't know how we can support him. Like, let's not enable him. Of course, if it's a mental health thing, let's support in the positive in the right way. And maybe that's just giving him space.
Right.
Because, I think that he's kind of destructive right now to a lot of the movements going on.
I feel you. And since Kanye didn't drop this week, why don't we talk about the people that did do something like with the music this week?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, most definitely. We had a bunch of new releases. Let me just pull up my list here. J. Cole, Drake, Logic, and Juice WRLD. Okay, so those are 4 heavyweights right now. Heavyweights, legit heavyweights in the hip-hop game that released new content this week. I'm sure that the audience has a very sort of taste on all these guys. I know some of them better. I like some of them better than others. But we're here to give everyone an open shot. So I listened to this with open eyes and open ears. What did you think of these 4 tracks?
Well, there's like a few of them. J. Cole had a couple, like 2 tracks. Logic, he had a full-length album release, and that was supposed to be his retirement release. So you know it's going to be a banger, going out on a bang, right?
Sure.
And then Juice WRLD actually was released, I believe, 2 weeks ago, and that is a post-humanist. Is that a word? Post-humanist? That's a word. We'll say it's a word. It feels like a word, so I'll say it's a word. And that was a post-humanist release. And Drake had a feature on 1 track, and then he was featured on all tracks. I guess he does that when I think he's going to get ready to drop something of his own. like kind of like almost like before his own kind of music comes out. He's like on a bunch of artists. So he was on DJ Khaled's and Heady One, I think his name is, from the UK.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of like the order that I had it, that we got it listed. These are the order of like impact, and the tracks that I found that the most significant were J. Cole, The Climb Back. Logic had a few cool ones, and I know you've been following Logic for a bit, so I know you're gonna give a spiel on that one. And then Juice WRLD, we talked about it a bit. I found his album very repetitive, and it's sad to see. You could see the demons there with the drug references, the references to codeine and pills and things like that. But a standout for me was Righteous, and then Drake. One song that I thought was fire was Pop Star, and then the other one, which I thought was a miss, was Grease. And I thought that he was copying a lot of like flow. I know a lot of people were tweeting about it, saying he copied like the Weeknd's flows on that one. So yeah, that's where I have it. And I will ask you a question before we get into the other ones about Drake, like, the J. Cole's, the Logic, and even to an extent, Juice WRLD talking about like his demons. You don't really catch too much of that with Drake, but you do hear him talking about, the pop star life, as in like this case. So do you find it weird that he has like this huge platform, but isn't talking political, isn't making references to what's going on in the world?
Yeah, we definitely did talk about this a little bit. I think he's playing safe, really. By not having like a strong opinion, you can't get mad at him one way or the other. And I think that he's going a different approach, like I mentioned to you, like a globalist approach, where in the latest song he's rapping in Arab, I guess, and he's got the artist from the UK, and he's doing some more global stuff. I know he did a lot of dancehall stuff before with the islands. So I think that he's trying to bring people together that way. But you're right, he's not commenting so much on what's going on. And maybe as a Canadian, he's a little bit removed, but certainly he's got a massive, enormous platform that he can have strong influence with whatever he says. And he's savvy, right? Like he's smart and he's with it and he's clever. So he's got his finger on the pulse with it. But that doesn't, to me, I don't fault him for that. Like I said, he's playing the safe game, so I have no problem with if he wants to kind of step out of that. But my thoughts on some of the music there, the J. Cole was nice. It was conscious as ever, like he's always been a lyricist. I like the Lion King of the Ice. I think that was the
really
that I enjoyed. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not sure why. I couldn't tell you why, but it just sort of resonated with me a little bit better. The Drake, I did like the Only You freestyle. I thought that was cool. I do have an affinity for the British, the UK style, that drill rap. Going back to my Dizzy Rascal days in university, I used to love that guy. But that sort of like tough, grimy flow, I'm big on that. So I like that. I didn't mind Grease so much. I didn't mind Pops. It was all right. I didn't have any problem with Grease. To me, that's a recruiting tool to try to get Giannis Antetokounmpo to Toronto by releasing a song.
I didn't hear any references. Like I thought I heard him talking about Paris, like our Paris or something. I was like, okay. And
He didn't clearly say Giannis come to Toronto. He didn't say that.
No. Yeah. But I don't even know. Did he even say anything about? Did he say Grease in the song? I don't know. People watch it. Can you tell us about? But like, yeah, I don't know. I found that a bit like he's just all over the map right now with his flows and styles. Right. I guess you gotta stay motivated and inspired.
Worldwide. He's the new Pitbull, right?
Right. Yeah, I thought I liked the other J. Cole one, like the Climb Back, a little bit better. And just on what we were talking about before, especially with Kid Cudi and like the mental health, that there's some like references there at the end of the song saying like, we need his people need a hotline to reach out to if they feel like they're going to pick up a gun or something like that in violence. And I really appreciated that. And especially like some good, I don't want to say speeches, but some good like speeches within the songs and voice clips of speeches within J. Cole's as well as in Logic's. Some good references there. So yeah, check out all those tracks for real.
With respect to Logic, I just want to touch on him real quick.
Yeah. That's your boy.
So the Juice WRLD, just real quick, unfortunately, that didn't resonate so well with me. You know, like I'm not a big Juice WRLD guy. He to me emulates like the young culture of hip hop fans out there. It's a little emo-ish, and you know, okay, I'll give him some love because he's doing it consistently, and he's got a pretty big fan base, and you know, he seems to have like a lot of support there. But like to your point, it was very repetitive. Got to give him credit for talking about emotional stuff and sensitive stuff, but it just I wasn't vibing to it very much. So I
Right.
could only really handle like a few songs, and then I was like, I'm out. I had to dip out. But I spent that time though, extra time on Logic. I thought that Logic album was pretty fire. I asked you the question: how many songs on an album does it need before you can consider an album to be fire? And to me, I think that Logic hit that quota. Standout songs, GP4, just the regular intro, but one specifically one. I don't know if you caught this, the Man I Is. It's got a sample from Outkast's Spotty Audie Dopalicious.
Right, which I think is probably a sample of something else. Yeah, like they probably because like they probably sampled those horns and but yeah. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice callback to Outkast. It seems like it was a hot track. So yeah, the Logic album, no pressure. I rate that one a lot higher than I do the Juice WRLD. Sorry, rest in peace, Juice WRLD.
Absolutely,
So, yeah.
and there's some good references in that Logic album too. Like, you know, reference like he pays homage to the artists that come ahead of him, right? Like it's a different style of hip hop, like the Roots, Eminem. Like he's on that way. Like I think I heard a lot of No ID shout outs. So I'm assuming
Right.
he produced like a good chunk of it, if not all of it, which is, the legendary producer who produced Kanye back in the day and from Chicago.
I do think
So,
that like he's
yeah.
he's got like a classy touch to it too. Like some of his samples, the piano riffs and stuff like that. It's a mature sound, and I do like how he has like the samples, the word samples. They're different speakers or philosophers. It's not like he's just picking out of other songs. You know, he's picking out of speeches. He's pretty big on the social justice as well, and I think some of that kind of comes through in his songs. It's reinforced by these speeches. So
Right.
it's pretty conscious stuff, you know. Logic, smart guy, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
interesting, and it's interesting because like all we talk about Drake being very business savvy. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Jay-Z in a bit. I wore my Jay-Z shirt, but and his business savvy. But Logic, man, he's on his business grind too. He this is his retirement, his like last album, and he just signed an exclusive deal with Twitch. So he's going to be streaming, and I think it's like $1 million deal. So much love. Yeah, I just see Blackwood, shout outs Blackwood, saying that he dug the Logic record, and yeah, no doubt it was fire. And
so he says that he's retiring. Like, is this a real retirement? You know how Nicki Minaj, she said she retired too. That lasted like 2 years.
well, we'll see, right? Like you can never take the music out of the artist, right? Let's see how far video games and dadding go. That's what his Twitch handle says, or his Twitch channel, like video gamer and dad. So let's see. But he got a lot of followers on his first stream after he announced that and announced the deal. And just tying it up with Juice WRLD as we transition to the next, like the main crux of the show. Yeah. I did notice on the album though there's some mashups on there, right? Like the producer / DJ Marshmello, like very like there was like this like rocky like and I think there's like some kind of that influence too in Juice WRLD stuff, and that track with Marshmello it's been huge. It's like I think it's like on top of like billboards and like the Billboard charts and stuff. I don't know where, but so don't quote me on that, but I know it has been on, and so I think that's a good way to wrap up what happened in hip hop this week, sure. and then start to transition over to our main theme, which is unlikely collaborations.
Awesome. Okay, so this week we're looking at unlikely collaborations, and the more I think about it, that's not really a fair term because nowadays everyone seems to be collaborating with everyone. There's a huge laundry list of collabs out there that I'm sure are super famous. That when we threw this question out there, it came right to your mind. V and I focused on a few, but before we get into what we had, V, what other notable ones kind of stood out to you, or what other ones were you considering before you selected your song?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't know why. Like the first thing that came to my mind was the Eminem and Elton John at like the the Grammys or whatever that
Oh
they
yeah.
had there.
Well,
But
that's
and
really unlikely. That's unlikely collaboration right
that's
there.
unlikely. And we put it out to, and because it's our thing where we show love to everyone who gets involved and contributes in our group, the Humble and Hungry group on Facebook. So shout out to everyone there. And I
Right.
just want to shout out a few people who answered. So Derek, he mentioned Watch the Throne. That's a classic.
Oh
Jay-Z
yeah.
and Kanye cannot sleep on that one. That's probably one of my favorite ones. Again,
For
and that's
sure.
one of the reasons why I wanted my Jay-Z 444 t-shirt. You can see all his albums. Abiti, again, Beyonce and Jay-Z, Crazy
Yeah.
in Love.
A
Kyle,
huge record. Huge record.
yeah, yeah. And like, I think there's like a underlying theme to all of this. I wonder what it is, but, and we'll get there. But then Kala, she likes Queen and David Bowie. What's Rob Thomas and Santana,
Yeah.
and
I remember that track. That was a banger.
Bowie and Mick Jagger. Paul was saying Maynard and the Deftones. I don't know if anyone knows that one. And also, you might remember this one, Estero and Black Eyed Peas before Fergie. Remember that song Weekends?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good video too. I like that.
Yeah. And the last one was Paige, who also echoing Kala's sentiments, David Bowie and Queen with Under Pressure. So yeah, that was the group's thoughts.
Nice.
Shout outs to them with
For sure.
getting involved there.
Some of the other ones that I was thinking about, of course, got to go Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. That was a massive.
Love the
one.
video. Love the video for that. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah. Sting and Shaggy. You know about that one?
I think they did a live or something. Did they do
Yeah.
NPR
They did
Tiny Desk? I saw
They
something
did
like
like
that.
a Broadway thing together. Yeah, most definitely.
So weird.
The one that spurned off of the Run DMC Aerosmith that I'm going to talk about in a minute was Anthrax and Public Enemy. Came out
Yes.
shortly. Yeah, that was another one that I saw quite often. I'm gonna list a few more: Little Nas X and Billy Ray Cyrus. Whatever. Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga are putting beautiful music out together. Mac Miller and John Mayer, Chris Stapleton and Justin Timberlake. And another one of my favorites was David Bowie and Bing Crosby singing Little Drummer Boy.
Okay.
It's kind of like, I don't know.
Christmas vibe.
David Bowie really kind of did a number on me when in that movie Labyrinth as a kid. So to see him like again as the little drummer boy singing that, it was kind of a weird thing for me. But
You got
anyway.
down. You got down. Yeah.
So the song that I chose this week was "Walk This Way." Now everyone here has heard that song, right? That opening riff is like just classic, and you can probably hear it in your head right now as I mention it. This was, I guess you could technically say that this is a cover because it's not. They're pretty much just re-recording the same song, same lyrics there. A little bit of background information about it. Run DMC used to get a sample of this track, but they never knew who sung the track. They just knew the sample. They knew that and that opening riff, a couple of like scratches, and then people would do freestyling beats over it. And it wasn't until Rick Rubin came forward, and he was the one that encouraged that Run DMC does a little bit more effort here in re-recording this music. Do you have an opinion on Rick Rubin? Before I know we have a lot to say about him one day, but
yeah, man.
as well, right?
Just a visionary, man. It's crazy that at that time in history, in hip hop history, like I think his whole and correct me if I'm wrong because you probably did a little deeper on this one, but I think his whole vision was to bring hip hop to the other like people who didn't like the rock world, meaning a lot of people didn't see hip hop as a legit genre. They didn't see it as music, right?
Yeah.
And I think his goal and his vision was to be like, no, like this is a real legit thing.
That's right. And Rick Rubin thought that hip hop was the music of the future. So him and Ron Simmons working together with Def Jam, they were the ones that tried to bring hip hop.
Russell Simmons. I got to correct you.
What did I say?
Ron Simmons.
Oh, Ron Simmons. Oh, Ben Simmons. Russell Simmons. Sorry. But yeah. So they he was credited to help bringing hip hop into the mainstream. with this song. A couple other things that stood out to me that this was considered the fourth greatest hip hop song ever by VH1, which was kind of impressive to me. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame said that this is one of the 500 most influential songs. So it's getting love on both the hip hop and the rock spectrum, which is awesome. And I just loved that when Run DMC recorded this, they had no idea that it was going to be as big as it was.
Right.
They thought that My Adidas, which was also released recently, that's another banger of a track, they thought that was going to be their biggest song. And they were just blown away to hear that Walk This Way ended up being huge. And I did see an interview on DMC, and he was talking about this and how he was so against Aerosmith at first and so against this sort of collaboration until he got coaxed into it. And then once he did, and he realized how incredible of a song this is, the song changed his life. So his message at the end of the interview was like, be open to collaborations. Don't be afraid. Like don't say no. Other people might have other ideas that can, introduce you to different things that you never thought of before. And I know that's a theme that you and I have talked about a little bit before too, about working with other people, being open to that sort of collaboration. And this is an example of how one, decision to be like, yeah, I'm gonna work with these guys ended up being like one of the biggest songs in hip hop and rock, in the last 30 years, right?
Right. And another question is, why did Rick Rubin choose Aerosmith for the sample? Do you know that? Do you know why?
I do not know why. I mean, Aerosmith was not yet blown up. Fun fact, this was actually the video for this Run DMC. That was the first time Aerosmith was in a music video.
Interesting.
Yeah. So people didn't even know what they looked like before that. So it could have been because they were both on Def Jam's label. I'm not sure. Do you have an answer for that?
No, I don't. I think like he just wanted to like a band or something that or a sound. He was going for a particular sound, right? Yeah. It was more about the riff than anything else.
Sure. And Steven Tyler's lyric and his flow, he kind of rap-ish sings already.
Yeah, it's got this kind of nice rhythm to it, right? It was a really, really cool lick there, guitar lick. But I thought the last thing I want to say about Rick Rubin, I thought it was just so cool that he was just ahead of his time. He was was operating his record company out of his dorm room, and a lot of people were just is this kid for real? But then when they talk to him, they're like, this guy is focused. He knows where, he's got this vision, right? And I think that's why, a lot of artists want to work with him and still do, right? And they still look to him as this guru.
That's right. You got the golden touch, most definitely.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that might be a good place to transition to the next place.
Most definitely. So yeah, last thought on Rick Rubin though. I think maybe one day we should do an episode on Rick Rubin and his influence, because I don't think the masses out there knows how deep his talents go with respect.
Yeah, I would. I read a book where the Run DMC book way back in the day before I went through all this stuff I went through, and I remember reading some stuff on him, but I'm always captivated by his interviews. And people of the interweb and our Humblist folks, please let us know if you want to see that. Hit us up in the comments, or any other people you think we should focus on.
Yeah,
because I think there is some definite content there for sure we can touch upon.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk about your track. So you went with Jay-Z and Linkin Park. That's a banger of an album.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a definite interesting album. To be honest with you, I didn't really listen to it when it came out. I was obviously up on the Black album, and probably later in end of 2008-9, I was into Linkin Park, but before that, I really didn't give this album time of day. And it's kind of interesting because I'm, now a fan of both of theirs. Obviously Jay-Z and Linkin Park, but just to give everyone a little bit background how it came to be. Basically Jay-Z dropped his album, Black Album, in 2003. And we were talking about Logic retiring, that was supposed to be his retirement album, right? I think that was supposed to be his first retirement album. And as you can see here, these are like the albums listed. He has like 4 albums after after that or something, right? So
See, that's what I'm talking about. No one's ever really retired.
no one's
right?
really retired. And I'm not sure. I think it might be on that album that he says it. But we said, and we were trying to get it right all morning. It's like Jay-Z says he's a businessman, not a bit, or is he's a businessman, something.
Yeah, he still haven't got it.
Still can't get it. But he's a businessman. He's at the top of that business savvy world of being a hip hop. I think his like net worth's like $1 billion or something. He's crazy. Like he's probably, I think he surpassed P. Diddy, if not like really, really close. But
so if he didn't need to do this for the money, why did he do this record?
That's why I think because I think he's retired and he's like, hey, I've already got recorded content. I don't really need to, do much more. Like he can, like Jay-Z, I don't know if you've seen the making of the Black Album or any of his recording process, but he records like vocals really quickly. He's really efficient. He does it in one take. So I don't know if it was that, but I think like maybe it was just like the artistic process. I don't really know. But he saw it obviously as a business opportunity. And prior to the, Collision Course coming out, by then Jay-Z had already done MTV Unplugged. And so, with live instruments. So he already knew what the appetite was. And what happened was, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Danger Mouse, but Danger Mouse remixed the Black Album with the Beatles.
Yes,
and
that's an amazing album. I love that.
And yeah, it's a fantastic album. There we go. James telling us I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. Comma. The comma's key there. That's the key.
Very key.
Comma is key.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like that album was, I think he was not blown away, but it in MTV's eyes, it showed us like, whoa, like there's a potential here for mashups.
Yes.
And like my favorite song off that, just a side note here, off that Grey album is What More Can I Say? Oh my gosh. And I think it's mashed with, what's the Beatles song? My Guitar Gently
Weeps.
Yeah, that's a friggin', like I have that song on repeat on some playlist somewhere. But yeah, that everyone go check out that track. But yeah, so they saw this as an opportunity for Jay-Z to, make some money, like, because obviously MTV saw this as a great like opportunity. And anyhow, he was able to select who he wanted to work with. And since Linkin Park was, I've learned the genre nu metal, which is like a form of heavy metal that fuses like hip hop. So you got like, remember Korn? I totally forgot about that band, like Korn, Limp Bizkit. And you got Linkin Park. And since they already had like this hip hop element, I think, and Jay-Z was aware of Mike Shinoda, who's, the producer behind them. Yep. He selected Linkin Park.
And the rest is history. They came together and they put out one of a banger of an album. Fun fact, I did party with Mike Shinoda one time. I remember we talked about this a few days ago, but he is predominantly known as like the DJ in the band, I would say. Is that fair to say? If you're watching a video, he's the turntables.
And producer and rapper, right?
Yeah, and I was at a wedding in Cabo, and he ended up being there. So we did, I think we had a drink or two together. But that was before my fandom of Linkin Park, so I didn't really know who he was at that time.
Maybe better.
So this is like I said, this is a great album. Would you consider this one of Jay's best albums, even though it's not a Jay-Z like album? It's a collab album.
I don't know, man. I feel like there's only like a couple tracks. There's 6 tracks on the album, and like they pull from a couple albums from Linkin Park. I think it's called Meteor, like the albums of Linkin Park are Hybrid Theory and Meteora. And for Jay-Z, it's Black Album, obviously, Volume 2, Volume 3, and The Blueprint. And so, I don't know. I mean, I think the one that stands out on the album is Numb / Encore. It actually won a Grammy. So there you go, people. for best rap song collaboration. And I think he definitely achieved what he set out to do, right? If we think about Venn diagrams with Jay-Z and Linkin Park, and then in the middle is Jay-Z and Linkin Park, I think he definitely got that new audience that he wanted to. And let's be honest, he probably along the way inspired tons of artists, right? So we could talk about, and I'm sure, the Run DMC, Aerosmith, and the Public Enemy, Anthrax, and even Kid Rock at that time in the 90s was really kind of fusing a lot of those genres as well. But yeah, in those times, right? Yeah, like when the Limp Bizkit Method Man, I remember that collab with the Primo on the cuts. Ooh, that's a sick beat. Should check that one out after. But you got Lil Wayne got into his rap phase, and with Travis Barker, I know he collabed with a bunch of hip hop artists like MGK, and then you got the Yellow Wolves and artists of that nature that just kind of span, and even Eminem to an extent as well, right? So I think that collab really had a huge impact on culture and just fusing genres. But I think
we're due for a new one. I guess like the little Nas X, Billy Ray Cyrus is the latest new one, but we're due for a new, like, two heavyweights in their genres coming together, making a banger of an album.
Absolutely, and I think we could probably go on. I probably have a lot more stuff to talk about. Like at the end of the day, Jay-Z. I just want to say one last thing about Jay-Z's genius. He's just he crafted it all out, right? Although Mike Shinoda was producing, mixing the album and everything, so he was taking care of like getting Linkin Park all orchestrated, but Jay-Z was overseeing everything, right? As an executive producer, like seeing some of that video was awesome, just to see behind his, like the way he thinks. And he's like, hey, maybe we cut this out, maybe we do this ad lib, and like he was just in his ear, and like he just has the vision. So shout outs to Jay-Z for, like, no wonder he's on everyone's collab list, because I think he's just got this vision that's beyond everyone. And the fun fact about, you were talking about Rick Rubin, one of the songs on Collision Course, 99 Problems, produced by Rick Rubin. So there's already that kind of segue into hip hop, rap, rock, right? So really, really good. Brings it all full circle. And I think we can say, that this was this week in unlikely collaborations. But I say we go to the indie feature, because we're starting to
I hear
get
you,
to the end of the day. So here we go.
I hear you, V. All right, yeah, thanks for that. But yeah, we could talk all day about collaborations. There's lots more out there to go through. But we do want to give some time to Connie Fletcher. We're going to give her a little bit of love. She is our indie feature of the week. So, Connie. I listened to a bunch of her tracks there. I do one stood out to me, but before I get into which one I like the best, V, what do you know about Connie? What can you share about her?
Yeah, so Connie and I always forget, like, when time comes to talk about the indie feature, how we met. But I think again, the Pre-Save group, and she's been supportive. She's been dropping songs and supporting other artists in the Pre-Save group, and so shout outs to her for that. She's from the UK, or she resides in the UK. I know that. And I know she's been singing since the age of 3. So that's respect. Wow. And that's huge. And she plays 6 instruments. But what I do know, and if you guys, you can follow her on Instagram. We got her handle there. Nice. Yep. So definitely check her out. But she loves the guitar. Like, that's her, her love. And you'll see why if you check her out on Instagram. She has the most, like, live videos or Instagram videos of anyone playing the guitar that I've seen. Like, it's just, I think she must post one a day or something. And it's awesome, because in this time of pandemic and quarantine, all you need is a guitar. And I think with her song, and the song that we're talking about is originally an Elvis. It's an Elvis track, and it's a cover of Elvis. It's just, her style, very simple, but yet her voice is so effective, right? And it's so beautiful that it allows sometimes less is more, right? You don't need a huge production to really accomplish what you're set out to accomplish.
So I think you're talking about Fools Rush In, right? That's the track that you're talking about, which is an Elvis cover. So Connie did, I guess, more of an unplugged acoustic version of the song "Fools Rush In." Like I said, minimal production to it. It is very simple. It's like stripped down. It's just like her vocals really resonate through that song. The other one that stood out to me, I know we didn't talk about this beforehand, but there's a track called "Who I'm Supposed to Be." And I thought that one actually ended up being my favorite, especially with respect to like an original track. There's a lot of different sort of covers, like that one that we're talking about, "Fools Rush In," has been done a lot of times with a lot of different artists. But this was as far as an original song goes, "Who I'm Supposed to Be," I thought was very good. It was just felt very personal. To your point about her having a guitar, it does got a little bit of that Jack Johnson sort of feel, a little whimsical. But when I hear her music, like I feel like I'm in the room with her. I feel like I'm sitting next to her. She's sitting right over here, and she's just performing, and it's very like intimate, and it feels very like sort of raw, but it's beautiful. It's nice and uplifting music. So I really dug her sound, especially that one track.
Yeah, it was a cool story behind it too, right? Like she said, she's been listening to Elvis as for a long time. Her dad apparently is the front man of a 50s rock and roll band. So there you go. And she, in conjunction with wanting to cover the song, she met a guy who traveled with her from, I want to say, I think I got it written down here, Nashville to New Orleans. And so she went from Nashville to New Orleans, and they went to the Elvis's museum, the Elvis Museum, and the house there. And my reason for choosing the song is I can relate. Wise men say, fools rush in, but it's hard. Sometimes you just can't help falling in love, right? And this attraction is so quick, and you just want to like pounce. But it's good to be slow, people.
That's right, man.
Slow your roll, people.
Tortoise in the hair, right?
Yeah, for real. We got Digi shouting out, "Tortoise in the Hair." Love Elvis. Wants to hear the cover. Well, follow Connie. You can check it out. All her links and everything. So that's why I chose it.
Yeah, I thought that this was a great checkout. So we encourage everyone out there to check her out. It's really music that you can listen to at any situation, but especially on a Sunday afternoon, on a day like this when we're just chilling out, put it in the background, pick up a book or whatever, and just listen to it. It's beautiful stuff. But we gotta wrap up here because we're kind of starting to go over time. I do think that we have some ideas that came out of this. Like I'd like to hear a Rick Rubin show. Maybe we'll do a covers show. Like what were our favorite covers? That'd be kind of an interesting concept too. But I did want to talk about, yes, as you see on the bottom there, our surprise announcement, the contest and the tip jar. So we do have a tip jar set up there that V had mentioned off the top there. So far, the only tips are ways that we've gone so far is ways to improve our audio or certain things to make ourselves clearer. But a little bit of do-re-mi certainly helps out. So we can do different sort of contests and giveaways and sort of interactive stuff. And the goal being that once we're out of this coronavirus, once we have something going here, we can go back to doing like maybe hosting some shows, doing some venues and some events. And certainly that would help us along the ways with our planning and preparation about that. V, tell us about this contest, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dante. This is the surprise announcement. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in and has stayed with us for almost 50 minutes, man. We love y'all. Yeah. We see you, Digi, Mario, Jody, James, Eric, Della, April. Those are some of the people who've been, you can't see all the comments today, Dante, but yeah, those are some of the people who've been chiming in. I've tried to put some of them in the thing. So whether you're watching live or whether you're watching at a later time, the contest of the week, well, I don't know if we're doing this weekly, but this week's contest is we are going to have merch. We're going to have a Humble and Hungry t-shirt that we're going to send out to one lucky person. This is just a prototype right now, okay? We don't have anything.
Lower your expectations out there, guys. Lower your expectations.
But we'll see. If people are feeling it, we're gonna press more potentially. But one exclusive shirt is going to be delivered to a randomly selected person who tags 2 people in whatever platform they're using, whether it's Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. You can go onto our Instagram. We're going to have the promo there during the week. And ask those 2 people to follow us, man, to check us out, because we're trying to build this. We want to get this to more people. As I lose my voice, we're trying to get this to more people, and the only way to do that is to get more people engaged in the community. So tag those 2 people, and you can use the hashtag the Humblist, and that's basically it. Very simple first contest, and during the week, Jody or whoever is going to try and have, we're going to have some images of that Humble and Hungry t-shirt.
That's right. So basically it's a giveaway. You got to tag 2 people on any platform that you're using there, hashtag the Humblist, and you have your chance of winning a t-shirt. And yes, it's a wonderful prize for you, but selfishly for us, we are hoping to increase our engagement out there and increase our audience out there. So you do your part to help us out, and that just makes these shows a little bit better and a little bit more richer and more engaging for all of us out there.
Right.
Look forward to that. So look, stay tuned to our Instagram, especially because we will have more information posted up there in the coming days.
Absolutely.
I think that's all I got.
Yeah. Oh, I missed a few shows. I don't know if I showed out Della and Blackwood. They chimed in for sure as well. And and a little surprise, last minute surprise announcement. In 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I'm dropping a new track. So y'all heard it here first. Before the pre-save comes out, you guys are going to see 2 weeks.
New
Sunday
music coming up. And it's going to be coinciding with the theme of the week, which we're also very excited about. You're going to be that we're going to hype up in the next coming days. But before that, we have another show on Sunday. And then, like I said, the one after that, we're going to have brand new music coming out from the one and only Vivek Mehmi. I love it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you guys found this one insightful. We love y'all. Enjoy your Sunday. And stay cool, y'all. Stay cool.
Thanks, guys. Love y'all, guys. Have a good night.
Peace.